probably gonna try and do 3 videos, maybe more. Okay, so yeah, let's just get right into it. Once we started nearing a house in a neighborhood that was a pretty far distance from where William's house was, we parked in front of a lovely white house. "Darling, could you wait in the car for me?" William asked, which I nodded. Then he got out of his car and went up to the door of the house. When he knocked on the door, Clara, I think, answered the door, which 3 children came rushing out of the house hugging William, which I thought was adorable, as Clara seemed pissed off that the kids were leaving, which she looked like she was about to slap the absolute shit out of William, which if she did, she wouldn't be living for very long. Then William started making his way back to the car with his kids. As the car door opened, I heard a little voice piped up, "Daddy, who's in the front seat of the car?" I heard a little girl say, "That's Maya. She's staying at our house for a little while, a little bit. She doesn't bite. She's quite friendly. Quite friendly. Just ask Michael." William spoke, which I looked in the back of the car to see Michael, Elizabeth, and Chris. "Hi." Elizabeth spoke with a lot of energy, which I giggled at this as it was quite adorable. "Hi, I'm Wyan, as your dad had said. What's your name?" I spoke, which I already knew her name, but I was doing this to be nice. "I'm Elizabeth, and this is Christopher, but we just call him Chris." Elizabeth spoke as I waved at Chris. What's your response? He grabbed Elizabeth's arm and his Fredbear plush, which I giggled in response. "Chris, don't be rude, dude. You gotta say something." Michael spoke to his little brother, which Chris just hid his face and waved. "Don't mind Chris. He gets like this when meeting new people." William spoke as he chuckled at his younger son's behavior. "Yeah, my kids are the total opposite of each other. Michael is very outgoing, while Chris, on the other hand, is very shy, timid, and doesn't like meeting new people. Elizabeth?" William spoke as his kids smiled. "Elizabeth, my daughter, you can be a very complicated child." William spoke while he laughed a little bit, which Elizabeth did too. Which I looked at them, and he was right about Michael and Chris, which he's probably right about Elizabeth, because I don't know her well enough to actually know. Time skip. As we started reaching William's house, I don't know why, but I became nervous, so I just looked out the window to try and clear my head of my sudden feeling of being nervous, which it kinda helped. "Darling, do you mind helping Michael with his homework again? And I do believe Elizabeth and Chris also have homework to do as well. Would you mind helping them, please?" William spoke, which I looked at him, then back out the window. "Yeah, I can do that." "Great, I'll start cooking in a little bit then." Then I realized we reached the Afton's house, and William parked his car in the garage. As we all got out of the car, the 3 Afton kids didn't seem happy about doing their homework, which I didn't blame them. I hated doing my homework anyways. As Elizabeth and Chris ran upstairs, I was kind of confused. "Why did they just run upstairs?" I questioned, which Michael giggled. "They're probably giving me a head start as my homework is a bit harder than theirs. That's probably the reason." "Oh, well, that does make sense." As I sat down at the kitchen table next to Mike, when he grabbed his homework out, then I realized it was social studies. Just warning you, Mikey, I suck at social studies. It's the worst subject ever. I spoke, which made Mike giggle. Then I heard a chuckle from behind me. Well, darling, better start helping him before my other two kids get distracted from playing. I nodded my head, which then William went and sat on the couch and turned the TV on. So I didn't want to make William mad, so I started to help Mikey with his homework, which wasn't too bad, because social studies is because social studies in my grade fucking sucks. After a few more minutes, I got Michael done with his social studies homework. Alright, I think I should go get the other two. I spoke while stretching, then I got up from the kitchen table and looked at Michael. What other homework do you have? Math and language arts. Okay, I'll help you out with both if you need any help. Then just like that, I swiftly went upstairs to get Elizabeth and Chris. Once I reached the first room, I realized the room I broke into was Elizabeth's room. As I knocked on the door, I heard small footsteps come to the door. Then the door opened, and there stood Elizabeth. Hey, Liz, it's time to do your homework, I spoke to Elizabeth, which she frowned. Can't I do my homework later? Me and Chris were just playing dolls. You can join us if you'd like. Elizabeth, come on, your dad wants all of your homework done before dinner is done. You don't want your dad to be upset now, do you? Which Elizabeth shook her head no, then she went back into her room. I'm guessing to grab Chris, which I was correct. As we went downstairs, I noticed that William was in the kitchen, probably making dinner. As I led the two other Afton children to the kitchen table, as they grabbed their backpacks, they pulled out their homework. Then I looked at what Elizabeth had to do. It was a Father's Day card for William, which I smiled. Then she had a reading assignment to do. She needed an adult to help her out. Then I looked at what Chris needed to do. Since he was only 4 years old and Elizabeth was 5, Chris's homework would be different since he's in preschool. But she had a Father's Day project, and it all was art. So he had to get William's handprint and his handprint on the card, which I smiled at this. Then I looked over at Michael as he also had a Father's Day card out in front of him, which I giggled. Okay, let's get started. So who needed my help first, I asked, which Chris grabbed some purple paint and yellow paint. Can I do my homework after dinner, as I need Dad for mine? Which I looked at William and he nodded his head, so I gave Chris a thumbs up. So he put his homework aside. Then I looked at Elizabeth and she just needed help with her spelling, with the card, and the reading assignment. So I helped her out with that. As I looked over at her card, she said the most sweetest things about her father. Oh, this is so cute, Lizzie. I think this card is done. I spoke, which made Elizabeth giggle at this. Then she put her card in her backpack, probably to keep it a secret from her dad until Father's Day. Then I helped her with her reading assignment, which was just me or even William helping her and writing down the words she had trouble with. When she was done, she had a couple words she needed help on, and the words were because, weather, absolutely, absorb, and environment. That's all the words she got stuck on, which I don't blame her. She's only 5 years old, and those words are pretty hard for a 5-year-old to understand and spell out. Then she was done with her homework, so she put it away and went upstairs, as that's where Chris was. Then I moved over to help Michael. Hey, bud, how's it going? I asked softly when she looked at me, then back at the Father's Day card. I don't know what to write. Well, I can try and help you. I spoke softly as I rubbed Michael's back, which made him smile. As I went into deep thought, I just had to whisper things to him as William was in the kitchen making dinner. What has your father done that makes you feel like the most special kid ever? I whispered to Michael. Probably when Fredbear's first opened, I was the first kid ever to see it. Oh, and when I get to help him fix the animatronics, I even helped him make Fredbear and Spring Bonnie. When Michael spoke, he really seemed happy, which made me smile as he was a special kid. Like being able to help his own father make and repair animatronics, now that's big. See, there you go. Now write that down on the card. I spoke to Michael as he had a smile on his face. Then he wrote down all the things he spoke to me on the card. Then I realized he had done his history and math homework already. As he put away all of his homework, I looked over at William in the kitchen, and he was plating everything. So I got up and went upstairs to Elizabeth's room. I knocked on the door. I heard Elizabeth say, "Come in," and with her adorable British accent. Push opened the door. "Liz, Chris, dinner's ready. So please wash up and come downstairs, please." I spoke, and they nodded their heads. Then I went back downstairs as Michael was coming upstairs. "I'm washing up for dinner. You should as well," Michael spoke as he grabbed my arm and dragged me upstairs again. God damn. He was like, "Hell no, you ain't missing this shit." Once we were all washed up, we went back downstairs, which William had everything organized and set up. Then he looked up at me and his children. "Alrighty, you troublemakers, let's eat. Oh, and Chris, after I clean up everything, I can help you with your homework." William spoke happily, which we all sat down, and of course I had to sit next to Mr. Child Murderer. Damn. Which I wasn't too happy with, but I just had to deal with it. As I looked at what William had made, which was pork chops, I was guessing to be cooked frozen veggies. They were cooked with cheese, like lots of cheese, and mashed potatoes with gravy. Honestly, that shit's fucking Boston, brother. Which once I started eating, I actually loved William's cooking. It was well cooked and made. As I stayed quiet, as I always do when the food's really good, which once I was done with my pork chop, William piped up. "My, Wyatt, darling, you haven't said a word this whole time. Are you enjoying the food?" William asked, which I nodded my head and swallowed the remaining pork chop in my mouth. "Yes, it's delicious," I spoke happily, which made William smile. Time skip. As everyone was eating, me and not long after William was done eating. Now I see why there's so many goddamn comments. I forgot to put punctuation when I was re-editing it. So as everyone was eating, me and not long after William was done eating, as I helped him clean up the kitchen and put any leftovers in the fridge. Then Michael and Elizabeth were done, so they washed their plates more like Michael washed. Oh my god, this chapter's a little messy. Michael and Elizabeth were done eat, so they washed their plates more like Michael washed both his and his sister's plate, as she was a bit too small to reach the water in the sink. Then Chris finished long after, and Michael washed his plate. "Thanks, Mikey," Elizabeth and Chris said in unison, I think. Which Michael giggled at this. "No problem, you two," Michael spoke to his younger siblings. Wyan, darling, would you be a dear and go get Elizabeth ready for bed? She can play with her dolls for a little bit longer, but she needs to have a bath in her pajamas. No, needs to have a bath in her pajamas. There's a quotation. I swear to God. Her teeth brushed as well as her hair. William spoke, which I nodded. Yes, I can do that, but won't that be weird for your daughter? I asked. William rolled his eyes. I have had babysitters give all my children baths. It'll be fine. Which I shrugged my shoulders as I went upstairs, as that's where Elizabeth was probably in her room. As I knocked on the door, "Come in, Ryan," I heard Lizzie say from in her room. As I opened the door, I found Elizabeth grabbing her matching pajamas she wanted to wear. Then she grabbed underwear and she led me to the bathroom. Once we were in, she placed her stuff on the sink counter. Then I turned the water on as I waited for it to heat up. I let Elizabeth test the water, which was a bit too warm for her, so I turned it down. Then it was the right temperature for her. So I helped her undress, and she hopped into the bath. Then I went in a cabinet to grab Elizabeth her pink towel. Then I grabbed her strawberry-scented shampoo, conditioner, and body wash. I see you love strawberries, I giggled, which Liz did too. I like the smell of strawberries, but not the berry itself. I prefer cherries. As I giggled at Liz, I kneeled down beside the tub, which I helped wet Elizabeth's hair. Then I handed her a pink face cloth that I found in the cabinet. She thanked me and wiped her face to get the water off her face. Then I put some shampoo in my hand and placed it down by me as I put it in Elizabeth's hair. Then I started scrubbing the shampoo into her scalp, which I made sure not to be rough with her. But she didn't seem to complain, so I was relieved. Okay, time to rinse the shampoo out of your hair, Lizzie. Then I helped her wash it out of her hair. Then I grabbed the conditioner and put some in my hand. I put the bottle next to the shampoo bottle. As I put the conditioner in the tips of Elizabeth's hair, she began to get confused. Why don't you put the conditioner all over my head like you did with the shampoo? She asked. Well, it's not that great for your head. Do you want dandruff in your hair? Trust me, I had it. It's not pretty. Everyone thinks you have lice when it's just dead skin from your scalp. Which Elizabeth shook her head no, so I continued to put the conditioner in the tips of Elizabeth's hair. Then once I was done, I grabbed the body wash and the scrubber loofah. I like that word. It's funny. That was also pink. Jeez, you really love pink. I'm more of a FC girl. I mean, it's favorite color. This made Elizabeth laugh. That's what my daddy says. He loves purple. She spoke more like giggled out, which I couldn't help but smile at Liz. As we talked while waiting for the conditioner to settle in, I began to wash Elizabeth's body, which some spots I didn't feel comfortable washing, like her private parts. Sharks, they only bite when you touch their private parts. I don't know why I had to say that. Fucking 50 First Dates. So thank God she understood me and did it herself. I just wanted this chapter to be very clear that Elizabeth spoils the fuck out of his children. I think that was the meaning of this chapter. Then when she had body wash all over her body, all over her, I helped her wash it off and help her with getting the conditioner out of her hair. As Elizabeth Elizabeth was all cleaned, I helped her out of the tub and drained the water out of the tub. Then I gave her the pink towel. Then I went in the cabinet to find another pink towel for her hair. What are you looking for, Maya? Liz asked. I'm looking for another pink towel for your hair. It'll help you dry your hair. I don't know if y'all use 2 towels, but I do. Then Elizabeth walked over and grabbed another pink towel from the bottom shelf and handed it to me. Then I wrapped the towel around her hair and twisted a bit so it would stay in place as I helped Liz with getting her pajamas on. Time skip. Once she had her pink and white polka dotted pajamas on, I helped her brush her teeth by just putting toothpaste on the brush, which of course the toothpaste was strawberry flavored. Then once Elizabeth was done brushing her teeth, I made her floss her teeth, which I helped her. Then I got her to do mouthwash, which was pink mouthwash. I made sure she swished the mouthwash in her mouth for a full minute, or even 30 seconds would do as well. Then once she spat it all out of her mouth, she rinsed her mouth with water. Then I hung up her towels and took her dirty clothes to her room and put them in her hamper. I looked at the time on my phone. Okay, Liz, it's 7:59. How long are you allowed to play with your dolls for? I asked. Until 8:40, because our bedtime is 9. We can't stay up past our bedtime. Liz spoke, which I smiled and let her be. Then I went downstairs to see William on the couch while Chris was asleep. Do you want me to take him to bed? I asked, which William looked down at his son, looked back up at me. Yes, he was supposed to have a bath after Elizabeth, but he's asleep. Just get him in some pajamas and tuck him in. I'll come with you. William spoke, which I nodded as I gently picked Chris up, which William stood up and followed me upstairs, which he led me to Chris's room, which his room was white with light baby blue walls. And he had blue carpet in his room. Then I looked over at his bed and he had a golden bunny plushie on his bed. Damn, he must really love plushies. I spoke, which William chuckled. He loves plushies, Liz loves dolls, and Michael loves playing games on his Game Boy. I giggled as I gently placed Chris on his bed with his blue and yellow and white bedding. Then William came over with pajamas as I started to gently take off Chris's shirt. William handed me Chris's pajama shirt, which was a dark blue color. Then I put Chris's pajama shirt on him. It time skip. Once I was done changing Chris from his clothes into his pajamas, I gently picked him up again, which William untucked Chris's bed so I could put him in bed. Once I gently put him in bed, I put his pillow flat so he wouldn't wake up with neck pain. Then I slowly and carefully tucked him in bed and handed him his Fredbear plushie. Then me and William slowly and quietly walked out of Chris's room while leaving his door open a crack. God, he's just so cute. I spoke quietly, which William chuckled at this. Indeed he is. Then we walked downstairs. Well, don't be drinking. I'm going to get Elizabeth in bed. I spoke as I looked at the time, as it was 8:38, which William gave me a thumbs up. As I went back upstairs, I saw Elizabeth playing with her dolls. As I gently knocked on her door, she turned around and saw me, which she smiled. It's bedtime, Liz. Let's go. I spoke softly. Okay, Lion, which Elizabeth put her dolls away, meaning she put them to sleep, which was adorable. And she walked over to her own bed, which I picked her up. Hey, put me down, Lion, Elizabeth giggled out. Then I did an airplane kind of sounds as I untucked her bed and placed her in her bed. As I made sure her pillow was flat so she didn't wake up with neck pain, I tucked her in. Good night, Liz. See you in the morning. Elizabeth yawned. Good night, Maya. See you in the morning. God damn me, this chapter is making me tired. Then I walked out of her room, closing her door and just leaving a crack open like I did with Chris's door. Then I walked over to Michael's room. I knocked on the door. Come in, I heard Michael say from in his room, once I opened his door. Hey bud, it's bedtime. I spoke while I entered his room. Oh, okay. Then Michael placed his Game Boy on his nightstand, but I moved it a bit away from him so he didn't get any ideas. Then I left his room so he could change. Then once he was done, he looked at me and I looked at him. Hey, Wyan. Yes, Michael? I know I'm too old for it, but can you tuck me in? Michael asked, which I was shocked, but I nodded my head. As I made my way over to Michael's bed, I got him under the covers and tucked him in. Good night, Michael. I'll see you in the morning. Michael yawned. Good night, Mom. I love you. Once Michael said that, I was shocked, but I shook my head and smiled as I kissed his forehead. I love you too, Mikey. I spoke softly as I went over to my bed on the floor and plopped down and laid down. Then I shut my eyes and fell asleep. Alrighty, that's gonna do it for this episode. I'm gonna record 2 more videos. And yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed. And yeah, bye-bye guys. Love you all.